Chapter 7 of Merry Clappum Junction. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Ruth Golding. Merry Clappum Junction by Arnold Kennedy. Chapter 7. The House That Jack Built. Tommy ran on, panting and whistling to his dog. Winkle took no notice of these attentions and crossed one stile after another, keeping always one field ahead of his pursuer. As Tommy was beginning to think he had crossed all the stiles in the world, he saw a large bare wall not far ahead, extending an immense way to the right and left, and so high that he could not see the top of it. "Winkle can't get over that," thought he, but when he reached the wall no Winkle was to be seen. A little girl with a violin in her hand stood knocking at a small door. It seemed the only door in the whole wall, and there were no windows. When the door opened, Tommy followed the girl into a low passage. She was waving her violin about, and the air seemed to be playing upon it. "That's what you call an air," she said. "I wish I could play my scales like that," said Tommy. The girl turned round and said, "Talking about scales, did you happen to see a crocodile before you came in?" "There was one at our meeting," said Tommy. "We had a meeting of beasts, you know." "I daresay it was the same," said the little girl. "He was eating a sandwich when I met him, and he said it had dropped from the clouds. Then he asked me whether sandwiches often dropped from the clouds in England, because if they did, he thought he would stay here. He looked rather cross when I told him that I had never seen any come that way, and I was afraid he would eat me, but he said he had a kind heart under his scales. He also asked me the way to a place called Clappum Jungle, where sandwiches grew, but I told him I had never heard of it. Just then a train ran past. They don't often come round this way, because they have to get over the stiles, and the crocodile ran after it." "I wish you would tell me," said Tommy, "where my dog went. I saw him a few minutes ago." "You can't expect to keep on seeing things," said the girl, "and I don't know anything about your dog. You may take ours if you like." "Then can you tell me who you are?" said Tommy, "and what this house is called?" "I can do that quite easily," said the girl, as she put her fiddle away in a cupboard. "This is the house that Jack built, and I am Miss Jack. There's a story about us which you may have read. They sing it sometimes. In fact, they generally sing it when anyone listens." After saying this, the girl sat down and seemed to be going to sleep. She just said, in a drowsy voice, "One has to listen, and the other has to go to sleep." Tommy listened, and though he did not discover who "they" were, he heard a note struck on a piano, and then some voices began to sing very softly.
This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the maiden all forlorn that milks the cow with the crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the malt, that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the man all tattered and torn, that kissed the maiden all forlorn, that milked the cow with the crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the malt, that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the priest all shaven and shorn, that married the man all tattered and torn, that kissed the maiden all forlorn, that milked the cow with the crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the malt, that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cock that crowed in the morn, that waked the priest all shaven and shorn, that married the man all tattered and torn, that kissed the maiden all forlorn, that milked the cow with the crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the malt, that lay in the house that Jack built.
When the music came to an end, Miss Jack woke up and said,
"The malt is gone, of course, because the rat ate it, and father hadn't the heart to get any more. It was a great disappointment to him. He said he would never trust rats any more."
Tommy looked puzzled, and Miss Jack added,
"He was our own pet rat, and he assured us that he was quite honest. He said that he wished to be in the malt cellar in order to kill the mice that tried to eat the malt. When we reproached him afterwards, he said the mice had eaten the malt and he had eaten the mice. I didn't want father to punish him, but the cat came and killed him before I could say anything."
"What does Mr. Jack do now?" said Tommy.
"You'll see presently,"
said the little girl.
"He is the last thing in the house."
Miss Jack now led the way through a long straight passage, from which doors opened on each side. All the rooms that they passed were furnished alike, and Tommy remarked to Miss Jack that he wouldn't know one from another.
"Neither do we," she answered. "That's the fun of it. There is one for every day of the year, and they are all on the ground floor."
"Did you punish the cat?" asked Tommy.
"Oh no, poor thing," said Miss Jack. "We couldn't punish everybody. The cat and the cow and the cock and the tattered man, so we gave all the punishments to the dog. He is kept tied up and is always fed on sprats."
"I think you're very unkind," said Tommy. "It was the cat's fault just as much. What's the dog's name?"
"We took away his name when we tied him up," said Miss Jack. "He has such a temper that he'd worry his own name if he had one."
Talking in this way, the boy and girl walked on through the passage. Tommy was getting hungry, and he noticed that it had gradually become very hot.
"We're more than halfway through the year now," said Miss Jack. "This part is called All Roast. It will be cooler when we reach All Over, and at Stovember we shall want fires."
"What a quick sort of year," said Tommy. "What do you do when you've got to the end of it?"
"We just begin again,"
answered Miss Jack. She paused a little and then continued,
I suppose you're going to ask about the cow with the crumpled horn now. I'll tell you at all events. The cow is in the shed, and the crumpled horn is in the 27th music cupboard."
"I don't think I understand," said Tommy.
"It's a French horn," said Miss Jack. "Father plays on it when there's company. It was the cow that crumpled it by tossing it about. When she got tired of tossing the horn, she tossed the dog. She also tossed the man who came to write the story about us, but he didn't say anything about that."
"And the maiden all forlorn?"
"She married the gatekeeper, you know,"
said Miss Jack.
"He has new clothes now and lives in the lodge behind the house. He hasn't much to do because people always come in at the front door."
"Do people go out by the lodge?" asked Tommy. "Your front wall looked so high and long that I don't see how I'm to get home unless I go back through this passage."
"Nobody goes back that way," said Miss Jack positively. "When we get to the end of the year the front of the house comes round to the other side, but the people who come to see us disappear when they reach the backyard. I don't know what becomes of them. I expect they go to nothing."
Tommy became a little alarmed. He did not want to go to nothing at all. Indeed, he felt a little inclined to cry. Miss Jack continued,
"The priest has just given us a week's notice. He says he can't sleep because of that noisy cock."
They had now got past the 300th room, as Tommy saw by the numbers on the doors. In the 350th room a nice breakfast was laid. "I wish we could go in and have some," said Tommy, stopping short. "I see some sausage rolls."
"That's not today's breakfast," said Miss Jack. "If you tried to eat that the things wouldn't come away from the plates. But come along and see father making his fiddle."
In a room marked 365 a man was sitting on a table cross-legged. In one hand he had a pocket-knife and in the other some string. On his lap lay a large block of wood. The words "Jack, violin maker to Her Majesty" were written upon the wall. A violin lay near him, apparently as a model, at which he occasionally glanced. He tied the string round the wood, and then took it off and tied it round the knife. Then he laid the knife on the wood and tied the string round both of them. As the boy and girl came in, he looked up with a puzzled face, but said nothing. "Do you make violins?" asked Tommy. "I haven't made one yet," answered Mr. Jack, "but I'm busy making one. It will be so different from other violins that you can play in all keys at once, and one tune will sound exactly like another. That's what you call success." Tommy didn't know what to say to this, so he only asked if he might see the dog and have some breakfast. "As to breakfast," said Mr. Jack, "if you can manage to keep from disappearing while the house turns round, you can have New Year's Day's breakfast with us. And as to the dog—" Mr. Jack stopped, jumped onto the floor, and felt Tommy's pulse. "I expect you're pretty brave," he said, "because your hair is so curly, but the dog is most ferocious." "Does he bite people?" asked Tommy. "He hasn't bitten anybody yet," said Mr. Jack, "but he would if he were not tied up. Even the postman is afraid of him, though he never comes nearer than the front door." End of chapter 7